And like I said, I wasn't a part of it. My mom made sure that we weren't a part of that type of stuff. But I grew up and I saw that stuff. And here's Biggie Smalls just talking about that stuff, man. And it just kind of was like, wow, somebody knows where I come from. Somebody sees where I come from. And I think that was like my first big influence in music, when I could understand the concept of how music can help you out. Ready to Die is probably like one of my most favorite albums. Like I said, there's so many different things on there. And once again, it's another thing, he came out at a time where like hip hop was definitely pushing the bounds. Hip hop was doing something different. And, before the East Coast, West Coast beef and whatever, all that stuff like that, Biggie Smalls is really, standing out and doing some stuff, songs like Gimme the Loot, Warning, Ready to Die, One More Chance, Juicy. And then my absolute favorite song on Ready to Die, which is, Everyday Struggle. And it just, it's an expression of him basically expressing what it was like to have to hustle on the corner and sell drugs and stuff like that. And while I like the song, and like I said, I have absolutely no experience with any of that stuff, and I'll never claim to have experience with any of that stuff, it spoke to me because, like I said, I saw this stuff going on in the neighborhood I was growing up every single day, whether it was walking to school, walking to a friend's house, or, just being in my neighborhood. You saw these type of things, especially growing up in the mid 90s, early 2000s and stuff like that. But it spoke to me in a sense that there's people around you who experience everything that you experience it. And sometimes people experience it in a worse, if not more difficult, standard. It's that moment you take to have pause for yourself to think somebody has it way worse than you have it, and you have to remind yourself that while things may be, difficult at this current moment, somebody feels like you feel or feels worse than what you feel, and they can express themselves. And that's the thing that influenced me heavy about Biggie Smalls, is everything that everyone's going through, somebody's going through that same exact thing. And like I said, if not worse. And it's just pause to remind yourself that music can speak to you in that way. And it can show you that your world is not so small and people can relate. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Biggie Smalls is just extremely powerful. And I would, there's that, what if things didn't go the way that they would? I think he would still be a forefront in hip hop music still today. Even his last album, 1997's Life After Death, an absolutely amazing song. He took so many risks on that album. And mind you, it's a double album. There's so many different things that he did in there. And I'm reminded of something I saw in, I was watching that Netflix documentary series called Hip Hop Evolution. And I'm reminded of something that Lil' Kim said about Biggie Smalls, which was, he was doing pop music, essentially, but doing it in a way that still had him come off like where he was from. Like he was still a thug. He was doing it gangster style, if you will, And I think that's always cool, because think about the popularity of songs like Juicy, and, More Money, More Problems, Hypnotize, especially. Those are songs that like had these funky beats that were really catchy and cool. And at the same time, he was actually saying some really hood shit in those songs. And it was enough for people to go, man, this is really good. But people didn't realize, some of the lyrics that or some of the subjects that he was talking about, just crazy, but like I said, these are some, hip hop artists that, before I got into metal, influenced how I thought about music, influenced the way I think music should be done. And also, it just shows you there's, besides what we listen to, there's another diverse side that can do just the same thing, but in very different ways and different manners, and I really think that, if you have never listened to any of these artists, or you haven't really listened to, some other albums, maybe even some earlier or some later material, I think you should definitely check every one of these artists out and kind of find some songs that fit to you, you know. I don't think a lot of people know that Michael Jackson actually has a song with Biggie Smalls, and it's called This Time Around. And it's crazy because it's off that like I think double, triple, like greatest hit / an album called History. And it's the only song I think in that album that he cusses. And I think he says like shit or something, which is kind of really corny. But when you think about it, Michael Jackson on a song, or Biggie Smalls on a song with Michael Jackson, and he's cussing. Like, it's hilarious. And, well, not hilarious, but it's interesting, crazy. It's, it just goes to show you that, you know, even in 1995, you know, with the way music was going, Michael Jackson saw Notorious B.I.G. as an artist that was definitely, I think he was on the rise. I think he was more than on the rise. And they made a song together, which blows my mind. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people don't realize Eminem remastered and did a whole bunch of Biggie Small songs. I think with Puff Daddy. It was like the Biggie duets or whatever the case is, which, you know, obviously happened after he died, and they used, you know, verses from, you know, songs. I'm sure he recorded a ton of stuff in the studio. But like I said, these are some artists from a different side of the music that really influenced me. You know, tell me about some of the artists that influenced you. Tell me about some of the different styles just besides metal, besides, you know, death metal, whatever it is you listen to. What are some of the actual artists that really influence you and have shaped your opinion on what music could be or how music could be done? Anyways, my name's Blue Rivera. If you'd like to get at me on social media, you can hit me up at Twitter, Podcast of Blue. You can hit me up on Instagram and Facebook, Blue Presents a Podcast. And remember, if you want to be a guest on my show or you'd like to share a show idea, just hit me up on any one of those platforms. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Thank you so much. Have a good day.